Hello and welcome to the Texas Association of Builders Zoom at Noon virtual education series sponsored by Hotchkiss Insurance. My name is Jessica Gehring with Hotchkiss Insurance, and I am excited to be here with you today for our next tab Zoom at Noon session. Our goal is to offer an opportunity for you to gain new strategies and stay on top of the latest within our industry as you continue to adapt to new circumstances. Hotchkiss Insurance can assist you with your insurance needs, including general liability, builder's risk, workers' compensation, employee benefits, equipment, and bonds. Call us at Hotchkiss Insurance. We are here to support the success of your business. In today's session, we will hear from Jennifer Wiley, a Dallas-based designer and owner of J. Wiley Designs, who is known for her timeless, elegant, and vibrant aesthetic. Her innovative and fresh approach to design results in well-planned and artistically curated homes that reflect her clients' passions and lifestyles. Jennifer's services are tailored to full-scale design projects, including interior furnishings, large remodel, and new construction products. Often referred to as translator by both builders and clients, Jennifer has a thorough understanding of the construction and design process and can easily translate a client's vision into their dream home. Her highly organized, attentive, and straightforward team strive to create an environment where communication is clear and relationships are lasting. Jennifer's love for the field of design has led her to be an active member of the Dallas chapter of the National Kitchen and Bath Association, serving on the board since 2013 as president in 2017, 2018, and 2019. Jennifer aspires to make the design process educational, fun, and collaborative. With an abundance of vendors to choose from, everything is truly customized to a client's lifestyles. Through her local connections and unique design perspectives, Jennifer brings experience, flair, and extraordinary knowledge to all her projects. Now to hear about how to keep your products on the forefront of design by exploring what's in and what's out with the new decade, designing for 2020 and beyond. These ideas for success that will have a direct impact on your bottom line and keep you ahead of the competition. Great design sells, and we must stay ahead of the market. Jennifer, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. I must admit, this is the first presentation I've done on Zoom, so it's kind of odd to talk to myself right now. I hope that I have enough to share with you all to keep you engaged with some pretty pictures, and I'm working on sharing that now. All right, thank you so much for the nice introduction. I want to give you all just a little bit of my history so you know where I'm coming from. I actually studied interior design at UNT, graduated in 2000, and was fortunate enough to go to work for a very high-end design firm, Barry Williams. My first day there, I was on the job site in a hard hat, and I knew I was in heaven. And that's where I fell in love with construction. So I was there for a few years, left, and became a sales rep, which made me even more knowledgeable about products and care and maintenance and things like that. Opened my own business almost 10 years ago. January will be 10 years. And as she previously stated, I've been super involved in our industry, volunteering on the board of National Kitchen and Bath Association. I'm supposed to be off the board, but I'm still kind of involved. That's just a little bit about me so that you all know that you've got somebody who's experienced talking to you. So this is why I'm here today. Some of you all are still trying to design things that are long gone. Others of you are trying to figure out what the heck it is that people want right now. So this is just to kind of get us started. I'm going to kind of start with exteriors. What I want to do is sort of walk through the home with you all. You all are in the industry, you understand construction. So I'm going to kind of talk about what's in and what's out in the beginning. And then mostly I'm going to transition into what's in because it doesn't matter what's out anymore. So you guys just need to know about what's in. And I will put this disclaimer up there. Some of these pictures are mine, some of them are not. The ones on this page are, but what I did was try to find some of the best representations possible for you all to see what I'm talking about. So in exteriors, when we're looking at modern, people are looking for warm moderns. The things that they're going for, you know, the wood tones mixed with stones, not everything being super stark. What's out? That in cold industrial look that's kind of hit the market in the past couple of years. It's kind of cool for a minute, but I think it's a little bit of a flash in the pan and probably does not have longevity. The reality is, especially now that people are stuck at home, they are looking for warmer environments. Also, what's in? Traditional, believe it or not, we are headed back into very traditional exteriors and interiors right now. What people are kind of looking for, I listed French, Spanish, and some classic styles. They really just want something that's different. Especially in the custom, semi-custom world, people don't want what their next door neighbor has. They're looking for something that can be a little more creative and bring a little more interest to their own homes. So when you're thinking of exteriors, I think the key takeaway from that is think details. Plain is not really what people are after right now. What's out? Although pretty, it's a little overdone. Modern farmhouse and white painted brick. We implore you, please, no more white painted brick. It has flooded our market. It's too plain, too uninteresting. And the modern farmhouse, while it has its place, has also been a little overdone. We have clients and clients' children saying, please don't make me have an all white house. So that is something you guys want to stay ahead of. The #1 trend this year, home offices. I'm sure you guys are seeing it as much as we are. The minute the market opened back up, I signed up 3 new projects. They included kitchens and home offices. People are stuck at home and trying to find innovative ways to use their spaces. In new construction, I think a lot of the new homes usually accommodate one study, but what would be important would be to visit with your consumers, visit with your homeowners, and talk about more than one study, because it's not necessarily just the owners who are working from home, but right now they're children too, or adult parents or adult children that are having to live with them as well. And in general, there's a little bit of a shift from this huge open concept home to something that's a little more segmented again, because the reality is in an open concept, you can hear everything from one end of the house to the next, and it's like a big football field where everything echoes. So people are looking for places to, tuck away in a corner, turn a closet or an extra bonus room into another study. I've got a new house right now that we're building the house with 2 studies in mind. One of the studies does not have a bathroom, so it's a true study. The other study does, so it will ultimately, it's a flex room. It can be a study, it can be a mother-in-law suite, a guest room, whatever they want. But you guys should know that this is the biggest thing of the year moving forward. Also, what's in. So we're focused on the what's in right now. Everything is colorful. If you guys had the opportunity to tour the Kips Bay Show House here in Dallas, there was no white room, well, except the art room upstairs. Everything was colorful. Lots of deep, saturated colors, everything from jewel tones to pastels, but everything was colorful. Again, all white's just boring. It's tired, it's boring. And while it has its place, you've got to fill it with something. So no more gray, no more all white, color is key. Again, just another example of all of the color that's in. Some of these pictures were sent to me from some manufacturers. You'll see these rich wood tones over here on the left and jewel tones. Jewel tones are really, really in. And quite frankly, jewel tones never really go out of style. They just sort of ebb and flow in popularity. And right now they are super popular. And yes, you are seeing purple cabinets. In fact, we had a presentation in my office where we were presenting some purple cabinets to a client who's an artist. The blues, you'll see the blues on there. Blue never goes away. I've been doing blue in kitchens for 20 years and it doesn't get tired. The other ones, greens, we did a kitchen recently that was deep, deep green with slab. cabinets, and we did a sort of a Spanish carved breadboard for an island. You know, again, people are looking to mix materials, mix colors, patterns, textures, just anything to create some interest in their homes. Neutral interiors always have their place, but the neutrals you'll find are warm. They're not stark. It's not the all white. Most of the neutral interiors have your wood tone cabinets, excuse me, whether it's a light wood, dark wood, blends of woods. This is really a look that has longevity as well. Something that I did not include in this and probably should have is some of the mid-century modern. I think if you'll see the picture over here on the right, this was actually sort of a mid-century modern remodel. That is probably not something you'll do in new construction as much, but in the remodel world right now, we're seeing a lot of it. So when those consumers do come to you asking to remodel the homes that are true mid-century moderns, they really do want to bring in that authentic style. And it always includes wood-toned cabinets with the green, of course. And the other thing, mixed materials, like I said, this island down here, super cool legs with some metal legs. So try to get creative. Think of something interesting. Be open to some of the things that your clients bring. And it doesn't always have to just be the same old island that we've been looking at for years. High contrast. You guys have probably seen a lot of these pictures right now. High drama. Again, that's what people are looking for. So whether it's black and white, blue and white, warm tones and navies, high contrast is really what is key right now. It's, again, looking for that visual interest, something that's artistic. I mean, really think magazine shots when you're thinking of color palettes. These are definitely good places to partner with design firms, design teams, because they're going to help keep you on a path that doesn't get too crazy. So I'm going to lead you into countertops right now. So there are other colors than white, and I know you guys have seen them. I would encourage you all to go take a walk through your local slab yards. These are some of the quartzites that I've actually used on projects, and they're fantastic. So what I discover with clients is, you know, they may have seen something over and over and over again on Houzz or Pinterest or things like that that they think they might like. Once we go walk through a slab yard and they are given permission to fall in love with something, then they do. Countertops are really the artwork in these homes. You know, that's where I always start. I start with the countertops and then I build the color palette around it. You know, you can make paint colors, but you can't make countertops. So these are some of the quartzites that are out there. There are a lot of quartzites that are not white or light or beige. Granite. Granite has seemed to be a four-letter word amongst clients because they imagine the old Baltic brown and Ubatuba and all of the stuff that we just shake our heads at anymore. There are beautiful granites out there, and a lot of times they're actually very affordable. You know, everybody wants quartzite and it's fantastic, but it's pricey. So those are the places where you splurge, you know, on the island, on the master bathroom. These can also be splurges. We've got blue bahia. I have blue bahia in my own bathroom and absolutely love it. These granites on top, the one on the left is called Copacabana. The one in the middle is Agate. And I think Skyfall on the right. And believe it or not, these are all between level 2 and level 4 materials. They look exotic. They're granite, so you know they're going to hold up. They book match really well if you're doing waterfall islands, things like that. So something to explore. You know, don't rule out granite just because it's you've got the old style in your mind. And of course, we have quartz. One of our quartz vendors shared these pictures with me for our presentation. Quartz is always a beautiful material as well. You know, if you have somebody insisting on that white look, then of course quartz is the way to go in the kitchen. Otherwise, I would encourage you to branch out and really look at some of these exotic finishes for materials. Quartz has come a long way. There are certain brands that carry more interesting things than others, but definitely get out there, talk to your reps, see what materials are available, and you know, work with your clients on these. Something I did not include in the presentation that I did want to bring up to you guys. Mitered edges are pretty big right now in countertops. I'm sure you're seeing that as well. Obviously, you've got this thick, chunky piece over here that looks like probably a 6-inch mitered edge there, 4 to 6 inches mitered edge. I've got a lot of people requesting that. So that is something to definitely pay attention to. As you all know, you can't just put a mitered edge countertop on a regular old cabinet. You're going to have to adjust that cabinet to accommodate that edge. But that is a really cool way to get some drama too. If you go back to some of your less expensive materials, some of those 2, 3, 4 level granite materials, put a 3 or 4 inch mitered edge on that island, you've got a killer countertop there that's really going to bring attention. Clients are going to be falling in love with that. The other thing is, Texas is historically a 3 cm market, and we're seeing more 2 cm material come in. In fact, my designer peers who are on the East Coast, the thinner the better is what they say. So they actually like the 2 cm material because you can get something a little more exotic. You can miter those edges, use it on shower walls, use it on backsplashes, all of those things a lot easier than having that thick, chunky 3 cm material. More color. So again, I was trying to kind of break it down into a category, but cabinets, really with cabinets, we are seeing tons of color, and again, the wood tones. And I don't care whether it's a slab cabinet, a shaker with a bead, we're doing full on traditional cabinets again. Believe it or not, I specified one this summer with an arch. Nobody's seen that in a while, but it is absolutely amazing installed. And we did the arch on the island in the butler's pantry, and then mixed it with something else on the perimeter, and the client absolutely loves it because it's not just a plain old shaker. That I will say, I've had plenty of people say that they are really tired of shakers, so I would encourage you to work with your cabinet vendors, work with your cabinet makers, and start just trying to explore a little more interest there again. Cabinets and textured tops, more of it. This was one over here on the right, kind of a wine colored cabinet. What I thought was really cool about these were the countertops. You're not limited to stone or quartz on countertops. Obviously in the kitchens, things like that, they're the best materials. But if you're in a bathroom vanity, or if you're in a bar area, or some built-ins in the space, explore some other materials. This material over here on the left is called chagrin, which is faux stingray. And believe it or not, it holds up really well. Stingrays come from the ocean. They are meant to tolerate water. So I've actually been doing a lot of coffee tables and even vanity fronts in this faux stingray because it holds up exceptionally well. It usually comes by the yard, usually in a fabric, and so you'd have to wrap those cabinets, but it works really well. And I can't take credit for this. This is not my picture over here, but on this bar over here on the right, this was actually a hair hide on that countertop. And I thought that was so cool that I took a picture of it because I wasn't creative enough to ever come up with something like that. Somebody else did. And what they did, because we all know that hides aren't that big, they have these little metal straps covering up those seams there. So this is a place for you guys to really get creative. Look for something interesting in those media rooms, those bars, maybe some dining room built-ins. Just really have fun with your cabinets and explore some things that aren't super pricey that make your house better and different from the next guys or gals. Tile. This is a place that's really fun right now. Yes, there is more than Subway out there, and people are tired of that too. So everything that you guys are seeing on the screen right now is from multiple different vendors. These particular ones, the one in the middle only comes in 2 colors, but this is really, I think this was an 8x8 tile, maybe 12x12, and when you lay it out, it turns into these fabulous patterns. These tiles that you're seeing on the rest of the screen, these are all 3-dimensional textured tiles, and these can all be made in a bunch of custom colors. Again, I really would encourage you guys to go talk with some of your tile shops, go to some of your local vendors, your regular vendors, and go to some of the custom places. You would be shocked at some of the smaller places how good their pricing is. I know everybody gets a little intimidated, especially if you're doing a spec home or things like that, but these are the things. If you will splurge a little bit on that kitchen backsplash or the bar backsplash, these are the things that are going to make your house so much more interesting than everybody else building on the same block. Backlighting. That's something I haven't seen a lot of in a while, but it's really coming back. This was a picture taken at KBIS just because it was such a great example of how many things were backlit. This was a company called Seachus that makes glass, like painted glass and tiles and things like that. But it kind of gives you an example of, you know, we used to backlight onyx all the time and people are doing it again. So with some of these quartzites, some of these thinner materials, you know, you can backlight on these thinner materials. That is something to explore as well. I'm seeing it in furniture pieces, consoles, things like that. Just they really add some wow factor to your space. Plumbing. Who thinks plumbing is exciting? It actually can be if you stop and put a little effort into it. These are all lines. Something that's really big right now in sinks are these workstation sinks. Galley was the original one that came out with these, and a lot of other vendors have them now that are not quite as pricey. I've got requests for these quite frequently. So the key with these workstation sinks is you can't have a standard 36-inch sink base. Well, you can, but then you have a 32-inch sink and you don't have a lot of flexibility with all of the functionality of that. So this would be a really key place to, especially with your custom homes, really work with the homeowner, find out how they want to use that space and make a bigger sink. They usually come by the linear foot, I think starting at about 3 square feet or 3 feet, and they're usually about $1,000 a foot. So they are pricey things. However, they come with a lot of the bells and whistles. So by the time you add all the other bells and whistles to other sinks, they're probably similar in price. Kitchen sinks, if you are looking at doing apron front sinks, mix it up. You know, do something cool. This is a company called Linka Sink. It's a hammered stainless, and they have grates that change out on the front. So they've got different metals, different stones. Just again, looking for something just a little bit interesting and not so plain. For your standard undermounts, of course, granite composites, stainless, those aren't going anywhere. The granite composites are wonderful because you get a little bit of color mixed in there. I'm sure that you all have used them, but if not, definitely talk to your local reps. They're inexpensive, they are high performance, and they look really good under these colorful countertops. The last thing you want is a white sink under a black fusion countertop. That would just be awful. These are sort of lavatory powder bath sinks, concrete with some drains mixed in there. This is inlay mother of pearl. It looks delicate, but again, mother of pearl comes from the ocean, so it is pretty durable. But just encouraging you guys to step out of the white undermount box. Faucets. It's kind of an interesting time in faucets. You know, we've got our standard pull downs, pull outs, all of that sort of thing. A lot of things are going to voice activated. This was a prototype over here on the right-hand side at KBIS. They've come out with some other things right now, but it was really just sort of a talking point. So they're kind of interesting. I was in a showroom the other day, and although I think they're cool, I do think they have some things to work out. Apparently you have to program your voice to those faucets. So your housekeeper might not be able to come in and just turn your faucet on. So things like that to look out for. They're really cool, but look out for, you know, what challenges you might have with them. This funky thing up here on the left was also a concept faucet. And again, they're just kind of trying to show where faucets might go. This one sort of looks like an art installation, and I've been told a lot of other things, but it's kind of funny looking. And really the idea was just to say, what can we do with plumbing? I mean, how exciting can faucets actually be? And I think the reality is that we're in a place right now where we're going to start seeing a lot of cool things come out. As far as finishes go, kind of anything goes right now. You know, you've got your polished nickel, chrome, satin brass, black. People are mixing metals right now. So, you know, not all metals go together, but you can mix some metals. But they don't have to, everything doesn't have to be stainless or gold. It can mix. this is what I'm really excited about. And I'm sure you all have seen some of these too. These are 3D printed faucets. They are not brand new to the market, but they aren't widespread yet either because the cost is still a little bit insane. These three on the bottom and then the two right over here, they were some of the first ones to come out from DXV, which is American Standards Company, at the low price of about $18,000 a piece. So how many of those would you like in your house? What's cool about them is we know that the more people print, the more they work on it, the price is coming down. We know that because this one in the middle is a Callista faucet, and I think it retails for about $10,000. Now, I recognize that's still crazy in most of our worlds, but that's a pretty significant decrease in the matter of maybe 2 or 3 years. So what's really exciting about this is I think that the more they use this, the more they practice it, the more the vendors get on board. I think our faucets are really going to start becoming some really cool artwork in the home, and probably be a few years before the price gets down. But again, buy one for a powder bath, buy one for that really cool space in the house, and just do something different. If nothing else, it's just neat to know about them. I mean, your water supply comes up through these little channels, and it's fascinating. In case you can't tell, I'm a plumbing nerd. These are some cool things that are out there too. I'm sure most of you all have seen these sense guards. These to me just make sense, especially if you're doing new construction. You plumb this into the house and it detects any micro leaks in the house. And for a couple $1,000s, you've just saved tens of thousands of dollars of water damage should there be a flood in the house. So something like that just makes sense to me. There are a couple of vendors that make this. Again, I would encourage you to go to your local supplier and talk about the pros and cons of each. And I can't imagine there's a con to it at all. What a wonderful thing to have. How many times have we installed somebody's new wood floors, and then all of a sudden they have a leak 6 months later? I've done several remodels where things like that have happened. And no, it's not the contractor. It was nature. So, but that's kind of crazy. This little guy over here on the right is a countertop add-on where it's a power washer for cups, bottles, things like that. It's got a little fuzzy thing on the top for like wine, if you have lipstick marks on your glasses, but you can press down on that and it shoots this powerful spray up inside the glass. Think sports bottles, protein shakes, things like that, things that are goopy and gross. It really shoots out the inside of that and gets those things clean. So just another little cool thing to have. Lighting. Lighting is the jewelry in your house, and it's a lot of fun. I would say for the most part, lighting right now is pretty contemporary, actually. There's, again, a little bit of a shift into some more traditional things, but even in our traditional homes, we're using more contemporary lighting. So that's something to be aware of too. Mixing is really important. You don't want to stay in, everything has to be cohesive. It has to jive, but you don't want to have everything super modern and over the top or super traditional and over the top. You need to mix a little bit. It's, layering some traditional and contemporary and all those textures and patterns and colors. That's what really makes your house interesting, and that's what's going to make it sell. Blacks and golds are huge in lighting right now. Again, you can get the polished nickels and things like that, but mostly I'm seeing people using black or gold or mixes of things. So they just add such warmth to the space and a lot of drama. Appliances. These aren't quite as sexy, but there are some interesting things out there. This guy up here in the top hand corner is a range that actually has a sous vide in it as well. It has a griddle, the gas grates, and a sous vide. So it is truly an all-in-one. If you've got people that are interested in doing those sort of things, when you've got the clients who really are culinary experts and love to cook, these are some really cool things that they might enjoy out there. The pizza ovens, I'm sure you guys have seen the pizza ovens. They are fantastic. You are going to really need some air blowing in that kitchen to cool it down though, because they definitely create some heat. Your French doors, I've seen more and more people using the convection, completely losing my words right now, not convection oven. It'll come to me. They, instead of just induction, thank you, and using induction over gas. Every appliance training that I go to, believe it or not, you know, all the big names, they're cooking on induction. They're showing us how much they like using induction because it heats up and cools down just as fast, if not faster than gas. You can control it. I think you all know that, you know, when you have this hot surface, if you take something off, you know, immediately if you put your hand on there, yes, it's going to burn, but it's going to cool down very quickly. So you have less likelihood of burning in the event that you have to have a cooktop on an island or someplace that's not quite, that could be in reach of kids or cats or anything like that that could be on the countertop. These inductions are really cool. They're also very easy to clean. So if something does spill over, it's glass, you just wipe it down and you're good versus having to clean out all of the grates. Definitely something to look into. It's not your old electric cooktop that everybody hates. So I would get to know more about induction because your consumers are getting to know more about it and they really do like it. And I think, I don't know if you can see this right here. This is actually called a bridge. So you can actually bridge these two burners together and use it as a griddle. Put your griddle on top of that so that you've got even heating all the way across. Of course, who can forget our wine fridges? I think I'm specifying these even more taller ones, things like that all the time. So I would absolutely make sure you have something like that either built into the kitchen, built into the bar, or quite frankly, I'm doing beverage centers, not really the wine units, but the beverage centers in master bedrooms. We've got a lot of people that want coffee stations in the master bedroom because either they're in a big house and the kitchen is kind of far away, or even if the house isn't that big, the kitchen still might be on the opposite house from the bedroom. And instead of getting up and traipsing through kids and everything else, they want to get up and have a nice cup of coffee before they actually have to leave their rooms. However, most people need, you know, creamers or things like that as well. So tuck in a little beverage fridge in the master bathroom. These wine stations, also very cool. There's a couple of different versions out there and people just love them. There's something, they're a talking point. There's something to talk about when they're entertaining and having their friends over. We've sold a couple of those. This is really just representative of what people are doing with appliances right now. Of course, lots of column refrigeration, a lot of column refrigeration. This picture in the middle is really just to indicate panel ready. I had not done panel ready in years, and I've done predominantly panel ready this year. People want to see the cabinet panels again. They don't necessarily want to have all of the stainless. I mean, that's very much a personal decision between clients, but maybe there's a way if you're building a spec home that you can mix it, you know, put your cabinet panels on some of the big pieces, keep the stainless available on your dishwashers, those wet areas where they're going to have their wet dripping hands, and then have a mix there. And then this picture off to the right is really just about color. Colorful appliances are interesting and people do like them. I can't say I specify them a ton, but I do have quite a few peers that do. And I have specified a couple and they really are just cool, you know, something different to put in there. Statement carpet. I know everybody's had this aversion to carpet for the past few years, but I've got a lot of clients, frankly, that would like carpet on their stairs because wood stairs are just so slippery for them, for their dogs, for their kids. It's definitely something to consider. When you do carpet on the stairs, do a statement carpet, make it a wow factor. Don't put something basic and boring on there because that's the stuff that people don't like. That's the stuff that doesn't hold up. Do a tight weave on those stairs so that you don't have cut piles folding down. So cut and loop are generally what I'm going for. You get that nice tight pattern and you don't have those fiber piles folding over every time somebody stands on them. If you don't have, you know, if you've got wood floors, you have to have rugs anyway. So there, you know, a lot of times I know we do carpet in kids' rooms, media rooms, knock it out, do something fun with it, especially in those fun spaces. Don't be afraid to show some personality there because this is where people really want to get a little bit bold. As we all know, carpet's one of the easiest and least expensive things to change out. So do it up. Wood accents throughout the house. This is a really cool way to get some visual interest going on. This was actually a art haul that I did with a client a few years ago into his master bedroom. And we just fell in love with this 3-dimensional wood tile back there and just used it to hang the art on. But instead of just looking down at the end of the hallway and having open shelving, which in my opinion are just dust collectors, do something really cool. Make it a statement piece back there. Make it an art piece. We've done some of these things on master bedroom walls. Again, a statement wall there. Entries, ceilings. You can do some cool things on ceiling treatments. So these are actually tiles. So these are wood tiles where they kind of come on a sheet and then they interlock and mix. So again, I would encourage you guys to step out and go check those out because they're a little pricey, but a little bit goes a long way. So think about art niches and things like that, and you'll have a cool factor in there. Fireplace Designs. This is a place I'm really going to ask you guys to step out of the box a little bit. The stacked stone, the floor to ceiling stacked stone it's a little done, a little tired. It will always be around, I'm sure, but let's branch out a little bit. So when you are doing floor to ceiling, think about maybe mixing slab with some tile. You know, I know obviously slabs are a great visual, a great aesthetic, and when you have the budget to do it, that's wonderful. I also know how costly that can be. So this fireplace over here was one, I can't take credit for it. It was another designer I was working with. We inset a slab on the upper portion of this fireplace, and then all of this was just limestone tile around it. So really cool way to create drama in that space. These were probably 20-foot ceilings. So we needed something with some impact, but it controlled the cost by only having to buy that one slab. These fireplaces over here, think traditional. Again, we've got a lot of people going back into that traditional look right now, that French, that classic. Think of some Spanish fireplaces. I didn't have enough room to put all of those on the page, but get away from that stacked stone. Do something a little bit different. And then down here, we have some cool contemporary fireplaces. I know everybody's kind of going to the linear fireplaces right now, but you know, think of other ways to mix it up. Your fireplace does not have to be the focal point in that room. You know, this fireplace is a divider between a dining room and a living room. And what's cool about it is it can stand on its own. It's got some visual appeal, but it's not the primary thing in the room. It's dividing a room instead. So, you know, again, that fireplace does not have to be the focal point in the space, because as we all know, it gets a little bit challenging with TVs and fireplaces and all of that sort of thing. And TVs don't belong over every fireplace. So that's something that we should get rid of. Wallpaper. I have made some very obnoxious pages on purpose for wallpaper to try to drive home the point that it is everywhere right now, and everybody is absolutely in love with it. There are really cool patterns, textures, colors out there, from dark and moody to vibrant and bright. I'm seeing maximalism coming back with people matching fabrics and wallpaper. It's a little much for me, but they're doing it. The takeaway with this is don't be afraid of it. You know, everybody says, oh, well, you know, is that back in? Well, wallpaper never really went out of style. It's like your pants, right? You know, sometimes that pattern's in style, sometimes it's not. If you think of wallpaper sort of like clothing, it sort of ebbs and flows in popularity. Patterns change, but it's not that big of a thing to change out. Yes, it's more expensive than paint. I'm not saying you have to do it over an entire house, but you probably should use it somewhere. At a minimum, put it in a powder bath. Your powder bathroom should be spectacular. That is the place that all of the guests come. That is one of the first places that people see, and they want to be wowed by this cool paper. I do a lot of wallpaper on ceilings in dining rooms. That is a really cool place to get some drama because everybody forgets about the ceilings. You don't have to do beams everywhere. Beams are also, they have certain places they belong, but they don't belong in every house. So do some cool wallpaper, do some cool ceiling treatments. That's a picture I should have put in here. Some other just different moldings on the ceiling to get some patterns going on, something a little bit different. And again, more wallpaper, just to be a little bit obnoxious to you guys. But wallpapers are cool. There's some really neat textures out there. And again, I would encourage you to step out and see what's out and try to make those spaces a little more fun. So those are all the pretty pictures I have for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the presentation. Hopefully you took away something, a little nugget of something. You know, if there's anything I can impress upon you, it is to branch out, use some color, do something a little bit different. Try to make your property stand out from everybody else. I think they asked me to hold questions until the end, but oh, you know what, in this too, you guys, go out and visit showrooms. We all get in our little bubbles and we kind of go to the same places over and over again. Branch out, you know, reach out to some design partners. We love partnering with builders. You know, we love to be able to have relationships and help take your projects and take your clients' projects to the next level. But branch out, go to the design districts, walk around, see some new things that you haven't seen before, learn about some new vendors and make your place a little bit different. And that's all I have. If you guys have questions, this is my contact information and you're welcome to email me or call me with anything that you all have.
Jennifer, we do have a question from Jared. His question is, how about the use of pocket doors, swing doors? Is there a preference or denial of use?
I think it depends. I mean, it depends on the space. I tend to love pocket doors. I know my design peers tend to love pocket doors. You know, they hide easily, but I also know that that's not always optional. You know, if you've got plumbing or electric in that wall. But if you can do a pocket door and keep those doors hidden, then absolutely. And I also want to point out, you guys, there are so many things. There was no possible way that I could touch on every topic. So absolutely, the floor is open to questions, anything that I can possibly help answer for you guys.
We have another question about flooring ideas. Question
Okay.
mark. Do you have any?
Oh, that's the question?
Yes.
I was like, what's the question? Flooring ideas. I guess it depends on the room that you're in. I would say in general, most of what we're doing is wood floors. I am going to throw this out now that we're talking about wood floors. Do not be afraid of engineered floors. There is this misconception in builders' minds that engineered floors are bad, they're not quality, they're not as good. I beg to differ. At your design teams, we love that you can get wide planks, long planks, exotic woods, different things, so you're not stuck with your standard old oak floors that look the same in every project. So wood floors are definitely always the way to go. Obviously, you're going to want tile in your bathrooms for the most part, but patterns and textures on the floor, I love it all day long. So I don't know if you guys can see behind me, but I've got big patterns on the floor on my board back there. Those are definitely some wow factors.
We have another question about trends in the master. They're putting freestanding tubs in the shower enclosure. Are there any new elements that are catching on?
That's probably still one of the most current things. And so that's actually called a wet room. And we do them sometimes. I've got to say they look cool, but they may or may not be all that practical. If you're doing a freestanding tub in there, the challenge with that is making sure you have enough space behind it that you can get back there and clean and not have water pooling and things like that. They are pretty slippery. So getting in and out of those tubs can be slippery because everything in that room is always wet. And from what I understand from my contractors, they don't love doing them because you do have more opportunity for just moisture in different places. So they are cool. And I do have a project right now that we're specifying it on, but it's not photographed yet because it hasn't even been started. But that is something that if you're limited on space, it might be something to kind of incorporate into that design.
Another question we have are, what are you seeing for window frames? White, black, for new construction?
All of the above. I do see a lot of black. You know, and black is one of those things that it really hasn't ever gone out of style. 20 years ago, we were doing Benjamin Moore deep bronze as our paint color on windows. And guess what we're still doing? You know, we're still doing those dark windows. What's really cool about dark window trim is from inside of the house looking out, it actually frames what's outside, creates a little bit less glare. So it looks a little more artistic and actually takes your eye out there. So I'm probably doing more black and dark windows than white right now.
And then another more personal question, how do you stay inspired?
You know, the great thing, going to the showrooms, honestly, going to these showrooms is, they've always got vendors sending them new things. There's always turnover in things. So it's fun to go to the showrooms and see what's possible, because what you might be looking at on the shelf is probably not the only thing they have, you know. And if you're going to some of these more custom showrooms, then you really have a lot of opportunity, because you get to customize colors, mix patterns, things like that. Kips Bay Show House, when you have the opportunity to go tour something like that, that's a really fun way to stay inspired. And then, you know, I'm surrounded by a lot of amazing designers here in Dallas. I'm friends with a lot of them. So it's really cool to see the projects that they're working on, and we all share ideas with one another.
And another question, if you're updating a home, where should a homeowner spend most of their money? For example, if they have a nice custom wood cabinet, would you keep them instead of and update the granite and a backsplash?
If their cabinets are in good shape all day long, there's no reason to get rid of them, unless the layout's bad. If they have a bad layout, then I don't know that it's worth keeping the cabinets. That's really a case-by-case basis. Because we have some clients sometimes that want to keep their cabinets, and we have to say, look, by the time you modify them and, you know, change this, this, and this, you might as well buy new cabinets. So, but given that somebody has good cabinets that are in good shape, then absolutely, countertops, backsplash, light fixtures, hardware, those are pretty simple things to change out, and it really can create some drama.
And another question, how do you feel about large format tiles in living room spaces?
Love it. I've done it. I think when you've got the right house, especially in a contemporary, all day long, I think that that makes sense. Be aware that it's going to be a little bit echoey, so you are going to have some sound absorption somewhere. That may be where you want some different elements on the wall. Obviously, the client's going to have to put rugs in, but no, I think they're fantastic.
And curtains, in or out? If
always in. Always in. So, you know, you walk into these big, beautiful homes and you need something for sound absorption. Because we really do, we deal in a lot of hard surfaces, whether it's wood or tile or all of the above. You need something to soften that window space. Now then, with draperies, you don't have to get super fussy and fancy and have all of the trim and all of that stuff hanging off of them. Basic window panels are nice. Any kitchen or master bathroom probably needs a Roman shade somewhere in that window to soften that space. It really just helps finish off the look of that room.
Do you know how, we'll be posting the presentation over the next week. So what are your thoughts on aluminum trims and reveals instead of traditional wood trims?
I'm not sure that, I'm guessing that's windows. I don't really know. I'm not sure if I know what they're talking about. If it's windows, then I don't know. I don't really do a lot of aluminum windows. I see a lot of vinyl and wood. But again, it kind of depends on the level of home that you're building, the budget of the client, and what the finishes are.
Another question about flooring. Are the 12 by 24 tiles in for living and dining? I think those would be those large scale.
They are. They're a little small. I mean, it kind of depending on the house. If you're planning on doing tile, I mean, you could do it, but if you've got a really large room, which is where you're generally doing those contemporary tiles, I would see if you can find something bigger, you know, like the 36 by 48. You know, the tile installers are getting used to this stuff. They're getting, I know it takes more to install, but it looks a lot better. It looks more cohesive without all of those grout joints.
Another comment about, or you made a comment about beams. What is your opinion on alternate ceiling treatments besides wallpaper?
I love it. I was realizing in my presentation that I should have had a picture of some other ceiling treatments. Like I said, beams are fine for certain houses, but not every house can take a beam. You know, that doesn't belong in every home. So, but ceiling treatments in general are super cool. I always feel like the ceiling is forgotten about. So it's sort of your fifth wall, if you will. And, you know, wallpaper's cool, but there are, if you go on House or Google or something and just look for ceiling treatments, ceiling details, ceiling trim, you'll see some really cool patterns out there that basically look like, they're not necessarily plaster, because I know that's a little expensive, but they look like molding that's probably been applied and then painted, and it's really, really beautiful. So I would definitely look into that for studies, master bedrooms. I love that sort of thing. I think the key with something like that is you need some boundaries around it. You can't really just have that floating throughout an entire house. I would put that in a room with 4 dedicated walls where it has stopping points.
And another question, technology changes so fast. Usually by the time you install tech devices, it's obsolete or changed drastically. Are there still some good basic features to enable a homeowner to have smart features, i.e. thermostat, Wi-Fi, access points, Cat 6, cabling, etc.?
I'm going to be honest, that's a little above my pay grade. When it comes to all the technology stuff, I defer to the specialist on that sort of thing, because it is always changing, and I personally cannot keep up with all of it. You know, the basic things, like you said, Cat 6, that sort of thing, those are important. Again, it's always changing. So I would definitely reach out to your technology specialist around. You guys are welcome to reach out to me. I know some wonderful people that I can connect you with, and they are going to have so much more information than I would. I will say, from a design standpoint, thinking about things like motorized shades, that's something to consider up front, because obviously there's battery operated, but the bigger these windows are, it's better to have that sort of thing hardwired already. Again, from the design standpoint, we're specifying a lot of the TVs that look like artwork. In fact, we just had one installed in my office, and it's pretty fabulous. So you can put that over the fireplace, and it doesn't look quite like a TV. So I'm sorry, I don't know that I have the right answer for that sort of thing. That's not something I really specialize in as much.
We do have another question about backyards. What's the latest wish list? Like when it comes to entertaining kitchens, casitas, pools, etc.
All of the above. I mean, it really depends on
With
your
more people at home.
Right, that's the thing. I mean, you guys are probably doing the same thing I did. The minute we opened up, I signed up 3 new kitchens that first week, and we have just been upside down crazy busy with all of those requests, whether it's remodels, new homes, backyards. In the backyard, again, I think that's very personal. Like I personally, I love pools. I love having a pool in the backyard. That's my happy place. I've got plenty of clients who don't ever want a pool again. That's a very specific question, you know, kind of like, do you like purple or red? You know, that's a very specific question. But having some version of a sitting place, maybe the outdoor fireplace, and definitely a built-in barbecue area out there, I mean, that's never going to go out of style, and you're always going to have a place for that.
And a question about what software or do you use for renderings?
So I sub a lot of that out. So we do a lot with 2020 for kitchen and bath cabinetry and that sort of thing, and we can do renders in 2020. We've got some people that use SketchUp and some other people that use AutoCAD. So that is something I pay somebody else to do. My talents are better spent with the client.
And then our latest question is anything that people are putting in their homes specifically for their pets?
Oh gosh, yes. And I'm the crazy dog lady, so I really should have had that in this presentation too. We design in, you know, feeding stations a lot, you know, even if it's just the like 2 bowls or whatever for water bowl and food bowl, and you can put countertop material on there so that it's, so it can get wet. I do a lot of storage for animals. I have a lady who she trains guide dogs. And so in her mudroom, we actually had 2 big trash pullouts, and that was for her dog food. And then you open those doors, and that was like where they had all the leashes and things like that. So pets are definitely family members. And when you're talking about laundry, mudroom, kitchen, especially laundry and mudrooms though, those are the places that you should be asking about pets. Also dog showers. And the spec homes that we do, if I have the space for it, we generally will design in a dog shower in the laundry room as well.
I think that concludes our questions. So I want to thank you, Jennifer, for joining us today and giving all of your great insights and sharing your beautiful pictures.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I was really honored to be here. And like I said, you all have my information. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, call me. I'm happy to be a resource to any of you anytime.